10 seconds left.
Have the glass. What do you
What keep those out? Able to find one at the axe run with a nice 3 down.
glass? What do you...
4-2. Oh, another slam. Special. Beep.
Yes!
I mean, it had to go for him. And push him. Oh.
Hold on, but that didn't work out.
Opposition up on the draw.
Oh, but that... Coming out from behind, he's in the cross. Oh!
But trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now... And the ward is... Oh!
Stop the breach.
That's not getting anything. On the bottom area.
2v2.
10 seconds left.
Have the glass. What do you...
What keep those out? Able to find one at the axe run with the mirror. That's 3 down.
It's the rebag in it.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What do you...
What keep those out? Able to find one at the axe run with a nice 3 down.
Glass. What do you...
4-2. Oh, another slam. Special. Beep.
Yes!
I mean, it had to go for him. And push him. Oh.
Hold on, but that didn't work out.
Opposition up on the draw.
Oh, but that... Coming out from behind, he's in the cross. Oh!
But trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now... And the ward is... Oh!
Stop the breach.
That's not getting anything. On the bottom area.
2v2.
10 seconds left.
Have the glass. What do you...
What keep those out? Able to find one at the axe run with the mirror. That's 3 down.
It's the rebag in it.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What do you...
What keep those out? Able to find one at the axe run with a nice 3 down.
Glass. What do you...
4-2. Oh, another slam. Special. Beep.
Yes!
I mean, it had to go for him. And push him. Oh.
Hold on, but that didn't work out.
Opposition up on the draw.
Oh, but that... Coming out from behind, he's in the cross. Oh!
But trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now... And the ward is... Oh!
Stop the breach.
That's not getting anything. On the bottom area.
2v2.
10 seconds left.
Have the glass. What do you...
What keep those out? Able to find one at the axe run with the mirror. That's 3 down.
It's the right in it.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What is
He goes out, able to find one at axe run with the next 3 down.
glass?
4-2. Oh, another slam. Special. Beep. Yes! I mean, they have to go for him. And push him. Oh.
Hold up, that didn't work out.
Opposition up on the cross.
Oh, but coming out from behind. He's in the cross. Oh!
But trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now underwater. Oh!
Got the breach.
I thought this is anything. On the bottom.
2v2.
10 seconds left.
Have the glass. What is
He goes out, able to find one at axe run with the mirror. That's 3 down.
it's the right in it.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What is
He goes out, able to find one at axe run with the next 3 down.
glass?
4-2. Oh, another slam. Special. Beep. Yes! I mean, they have to go for him. And push him. Oh.
Hold up, that didn't work out.
Opposition up on the cross.
Oh, but coming out from behind. He's in the cross. Oh!
But trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now underwater. Oh!
Got the breach.
I thought this is anything. On the bottom.
2v2.
10 seconds left.
Have the glass. What is
He goes out, able to find one at axe run with the mirror. That's 3 down.
it's the right in it.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What is
He goes out, able to find one at axe run with the next 3 down.
glass?
4-2. Oh, another slam. Special. Beep. Yes! I mean, they have to go for him. And push him. Oh.
Hold up, that didn't work out.
Opposition up on the cross.
Oh, but coming out from behind. He's in the cross. Oh!
But trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now, and the ward is, oh!
Stop the breach.
Axon gets the second pick on the bottom. Neutralizes
2v2,
10 seconds left.
have the
Nice.
glass.
What a keep goes out. Able to find one on the Axon with them here. That's 3 down.
It's the retry again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Midwest R6. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties, and little may be an understatement. As such, we're not running camps today, and that's okay. We're still running the game, and that's what's important. We got two funny good teams here. We have UIC versus UICI, I believe, or no, UIUC, but blue. And we're running, as far as I'm aware, I can't remember if this is Division 1 or Division 2. I feel like this is Division 2, yeah?
Yeah,
But-
this is Division 2.
Okay. So we're running through Division 2. And the seedings are looking pretty okay. We're sitting here. We got MU Red at top. They're leading us off. And we're watching our second and third place. So I feel like this is going to be a pretty good game. What do you think, Fang?
I think this is gonna be electric. I know that Rennie and his whole squad have been prepping for this, for a couple days now, I hope, at least. And I know how Rennie plays, so he's gonna be one to look out for. He's a great entry, as well as Boy. I don't think his KD this matchup between the Division 2 teams has been quite representative because he can pop off, and I've seen him do it before. Do you know anything about UIC, Platypus, that you'd like to share?
I believe I do, just a little bit. I know that we have their stats for their teams in general. If we're able to switch on to those and see the team roster as well as their KDs and just, general information about them.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have Luckshot, Swordfish, Cosmo, Devialet. I believe how do you say that, do you think, Fang?
Devialit?
Devialet? I was right. And then it's Taco, as we see Luckshot and Swordfish both leading it off. And
British.
Swordfish being their MVP.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see. Hopefully they'll be able to show a lot more of that throughout this next matchup. However, their opponents. We have Sweaty, I believe that's Buoyancy. Fed a lot of numbers to try and make it work, but the name nonetheless. Zeophia? Zeophia? I also don't.
Zofia.
Okay, the EAU. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
We're,
It's
we're,
weird. I know.
we're figuring it out. It's gonna be a good night tonight. Then we have Rennie and CCDJ. All in all, the stats aren't looking nearly the same. As Zofia also having no records.
Yeah. Let's say that is a bit odd. I do know Sweaty used to be on the orange team, so the current team in Division 1 that's like top. So Sweaty used to be on that team, but he's on this team now. But he's probably a great captain to have because he's very good at commanding the battlefield. So I can't wait to see how he does in the coming matchup.
But moving on from there, we do have our MVP. And that is going to be CCDJ, leading them off with quite a bit. A nice little impressive 1.9 KD. And just overall good stats in general. So hopefully he'll be able to land an impact against Swordfish and the rest of UIC as well.
Wait, is it Swordfish or Sworddish?
Swordfish, I believe. Sworddish.
Is it Sword?
I
Can you go
believe,
back to? Hold on.
I believe
Can we go back to
it is
this?
Swordfish.
Oh,
But,
it's Sword
I
Dish.
mean-
Oh no, there's no F. Oh no.
There is no F. It's Sworddish.
Yeah, it's Sword. Oh no.
Good heavens. Well, oh well. We'll see that more in game and be able to figure that out. But moving on, we do have our map veto. We're gonna be going to the lovely map of Clubhouse first off, and then on to Oregon, as you see every day, day in, day out, and theme park to go to the decider if we so need it. What do you think we're gonna be seeing mostly here, Fang?
Personally, I'm not too sure. I haven't seen either of these two play nearly as much as I should have. But with that being said, I think Oregon will look much more linear compared to Clubhouse. I know there's a few interesting strategies with Clubhouse that you can do on the first floor as well as the basement that I have yet to see from many other teams. So I cannot wait to see what happens in Clubhouse. But Oregon, I'm pretty sure there's a few interesting ideas with that meeting hall area and that sort of tower area. But you never know.
Right. I mean, we'll definitely have to see because a lot of these maps, especially Clubhouse, it can be more strat heavy rather than just frag heavy. And I mean, even the same with Oregon to an extent, and theme parks specifically, more strat-sided maps. So I'm very curious to see exactly how they're going to be able to work around that, rather than just using their gunplay to make something happen when they have nothing else to rely on. If that makes
Right.
sense.
No, that makes sense enough.
But then
Yeah.
moving on from there, I believe we have our polls that we sent out before the games. We had some for Midwest R6 staff. We had some for the standard community sitting at for Discord and Twitter with pretty interesting results. We have Twitter sitting at a little bit more for CUI, I believe, and then the opposite for Discord. What were you think about that?
I am part of as you can see on the voted by Midwest R6 staff, I am part of the majority with the UIC, but you can see that the staff actually has voted 50-50 between the two. So that'll be interesting to see because Twitter votes one way, Discord votes the other way. So the real question is who will be coming on top? Because so far the Midwest R6 staff does not know. So.
And I mean, rightfully so to be very split, as these two teams are pretty high up in their seedings for their division. So I imagine it's going to be a pretty either very even game or a very one-sided game for either of these teams if they're able to break away. But without further ado, I believe our match is ready, assuming both teams are ready and rolling. So we're going to hop right into this as soon as possible for you guys to give you guys a massively great game moving forward.
And here we go.
You always love seeing that nice little loading screen going right into our favorite place in Germany, don't we?
Yeah. Who do you think's gonna get banned on this? I'm curious.
I have to assume that it's not gonna be anything out of the ordinary. I feel like
I'm gonna go Thatcher. Let's see, Thatcher, Jackal,
there's gonna
Cade,
be an
and
OSA.
Mira.
There's gotta be an OSA ban.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably.
But Nuck is gonna go out first.
I actually think apparently it's Nook. I was told previously because the O is supposed to make that ooh noise.
There's been a lot of speculations. I know even for like official Siege like casts and like presentations, they've said it a couple different ways, and even staff in UB don't apparently seem to have an idea of how they want to call it. But my prediction for Osa is wrong, as we see both Nuck and Habana gone. Habana, a great ban, especially for Clubhouse with as many hatches as you have to cover.
Right. She adds a little bit of complexity too with that, like a varied breaching. You can do 6 pellets, you can do 4 pellets, or you can just do 2. 2 is usually used for like the very soft hatches, so like the ones where you don't want to break it too much. So very complex breacher to have. And then we have Azami, who, very versatile, right, Platypus?
Oh, even more than that, honestly, because the thing about Azami is she is so powerful. Whoa, okay, hold on. Before we get to that, why the Tachanka? Why on earth? I understand the ability to mess around with the site layout, make some rotates that maybe you're not exactly ready for, or maybe you are. Who's to say? But to ban the Lord of all people, very bold.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
just bad.
the Azami makes sense because her utility and her Kiba barriers are able to lock off site and can completely change the way it looks from start to finish, and just
What do
make
you
it
know?
just make it so completely out of the ordinary, and attackers don't like dealing with it, which is understandable.
And the other thing is the Shumika launcher from Tachanka, when you think about it, it can deny like large areas at a time. So if they get some, XYZ open, like for example, right now, if they get one of the oh, we're actually downstairs in the basement this time, it seems.
We are
Right?
indeed.
So if they get like control of that moto area, Tachanka can launch his Shumikas from a distance and maybe control that and make it them, maybe deny a plant in the future. So
Also,
can't wait to see that.
I want to take a note. This new UI is very interesting because you can see all the utility that is actually used in this defender setup. As you see on the left side, how many reinforcements remain versus how many have been used. There seems to have
Right.
been only one used out of the reinforcements and their pool of 9 that they can throw out. Or if I'm reading that incorrectly, then it's the exact opposite. Or we can see that they have the proximity mines, shields, bulletproof camps, and impacts, as well as the attackers have grenades, breaching charges, claymores, and the massive amounts of drones, which is a very neat bit of information to be able to have. Osa taking also a little bit of damage immediately starting out, placing a Talon 8 and having it completely knocked right out of here just as soon as it began.
What do you think this the objective of this smoke here is specifically?
Well, for on a roaming purpose, it makes sense just for denying as long as possible because with a lot of basement setups, they're very turtled per se. Whereas I've seen a lot of new teams being able to roam with these ops and get a lot of time wasted. Smoke sitting all the way down in basement, that's going to be a very late round play. Whereas all these roamers up top are going to be just denying as much time and utility as possible to really force the attackers to make something happen. Because if they're not, then they're going to be low on time, and when they go to push site on their final execute, that's where that smoke's going to be coming into play. He's going to be able to wrench the attackers for every ounce of time that he can, because he has 3
Right.
toxic babes in pocket. Each of those burn for about 15 seconds. Or I believe more.
I don't know
think
if it's
10
actually
seconds.
I don't know. Is it 10? Yeah, probably.
I
You're
believe
probably
so.
right.
It's 10 or 15. I'm
But,
pretty sure it's 10. But
A minute
still,
and 15 into the round, we've seen them enter the building quite easily. It like almost no resistance.
I mean, the roamers are doing their job. They're making a lot of time, and they're able to get a kill. That's the thing. The attackers they now have finally full upstairs control, but that is 2 minutes into the round that they're able to get that control. And that's a lot of time that UIC has been able to wrench out of the way of UIUC.
Right.
It looks like Luckshot is going to go down, and Devilet is going to pick up, or no, Devilet is going to go down, and Cosmo is going to pick up the refrag, switching this into a 4v2, now turned 4v1, as Sweaty is knocked out by Sword Dish.
Buoyancy way out of the way here, it seems. He almost is like detached from his team.
I mean, that is not at all what you want, and he's already figured out by Sword Dish. But it does not matter, as he's able to pick up his kill anyways and turn it into a 3v1. But with 10 seconds left, there's not really much to be done here. He might walk into the gun, and he will indeed. And that is going to be UIC's first round victory. I do believe that there's going to be some sort of a pause, I believe, technical-wise. But otherwise, I feel like that's a pretty powerful round to start out with UIC. They're able to have such a big roam game, which extended all the way to top floor, which was great. And on top of that, like, what can you really do as an attacker? You have to flush out the top floor, then you have to move on to the second floor before even being able to move onto the bottom floor. But the thing is, they weren't able to. They tried, and they were finally able to push the top floor roamers down a floor, which is great and good for them. But what's that going to really matter 2 minutes into the round? You still haven't picked up a kill onto the defenders, and you've wasted 2/3 of the round. What can you do?
The other thing is, it seemed like UIUC was making advances with their drones, but they were getting constantly shot. So, that's quite frustrating as an attacker to like go for information and immediately be denied of it. So they're getting contested even at the top floor when it was in the basement. So imagine, what else is gonna happen when you get into the building. Probably
And I
gonna
mean,
die.
the only thing I can really think that would have really helped them is if they tried to do a direct site take, whether it's like from dirt, whether they have garage control to drop right into oil pit and down to blue. I mean, that is the only thing I could have really thought could have been better, because like you said, there's not a lot of control to be made upstairs, and as soon as you're able to get that, getting further into the building is just a double-edged sword, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, you can get in the building, but what happens when the attackers know that you're in the building, Kind of in trouble there because they have probably more of an advantage with their site setup than the attackers would. Because if your drone's getting shot, you hop in there for a direct site attack, anything can happen. What do you think is gonna happen with the idea of that like that top, like, do you think they're gonna roam this heavily throughout every round? Because it
I
seems like they
mean,
will.
assuming that on a site like Basement, they were able to have everybody so far stretched out of sight, then I wouldn't doubt that the rest of the map is going to be played in a similar fashion. Because
Right.
I mean, if that's just going to show what like the precursor of this map is, I can only really imagine that they're going to follow that trend, that they're going to play very aggressively, very spread out throughout the map, and use their gun skill to their advantage. If they can have that entire map control, not give an inch of space, and still win their gunfights, then that's going to do them so well.
Right. I also saw that they were bringing a Vigil, which is interesting because he's one of the few roamers that offers almost zero utility except for impacts.
He's a very
So
selfish roamer, to be honest with you.
yeah, pretty much. He's like, it's my impacts and it's my ability, and you do not mess with me. So I wonder if that's gonna change in the upcoming rounds because it seems to me that you're right. They seem to be focusing on their gun skill rather than their utility, and apparently it works. So, more power to you,
But I mean, if that's what it takes, then that's just what it takes.
I guess.
Can't do much about it. However, I am not too upset to see it because we're seeing some good gameplay, and I'm all for it. But now I'm able to move right into round 2 after a short tech pause. Thank you all for sticking with us through our various difficulties tonight. It's been a lovely night, and we're doing our best to give you the best show we can. So thank you for sticking around.
Here we see the bar setup, and they brought a castle, which is interesting because he's playing on the top floor and not on any of the windows on the bottom. So it seems like they like that top control very much.
Well, I mean, if you consider with how bar is set up, a lot of the second floor is very destructible, and you're able to get that vert control pretty heavily, whether it's through gym, whether it's through the bedroom, as we're seeing here, Castle with his super shorty being able to make those vert holes and really lock down the control from above. Because as you're aware, if you've been in the siege scene for any amount of time, bar is not a great site because there's not a lot of places to sit protected and just so much to have to look out for. However, playing from upstairs and just having the vert control, maybe a single like soul or two on site, then you're able to make that work much easier. Interesting enough, the breach charge going out instead of the sledgehammer. However, that is just what Sweaty has chosen to do. Who am I to judge?
The Jaeger looking for a early pick here on the top floor. He's trying to get some control of this cache area without too much blowback, it seems. He's got some support from those reinforced barricades in the castle in the other room, but we'll see how it goes.
I mean, they're going to get some drones onto him, it looks like. But he's going to see it. He's spotted, not able to take out the drone. However, that just means UIC, or UIUC, is going to know exactly where he's at and have a little bit of edge, force him back, and he's going to play it safe.
Smoke taking some
not
heavy damage, but I don't know how he got it, because it seems like they're so apparently they do have a split push.
They're able to get a tub wall open, the main breach of this point. Trying to shoot through the reinforcement. It's never really something that's going to work too insanely well. However, Smoke playing very closely on main, just waiting for his chance with the shotgun and or the SMG-11. You might get that chance very soon as Ace just hops right in. Runny playing very, very smart and very aggressive all at the same time, getting right in there. Very odd, considering he does have defuse in hand and he's being something of an entry this time around. He has the pings on where they're at, and he's going to get that headshot through the wall. Very nice shot onto Taco, putting this
Does he
into
know
a
that there's
4v5.
someone below?
I can only imagine he does.
You mentioned they have vertical holes. I wonder if they're going to start using that to advantage, and it looks like they are, because this sledge is starting to open those up.
And I mean, much to the dismay of UIC, considering that's probably not exactly why they wanted those vert holes. However, UIUC is going to take as much advantage as possible, just furthering their man advantage, sitting at a 2v4 with just 20 seconds or so left in the round. Luckshot hopping out, able to pick up one as another goes down in the process by the hand of Cosmo. Sitting at 15 seconds, Cosmo able to pick up another, with the last attacker now dropping into sight with just 10 seconds. Live pings on him, and Cosmo is going to grab a third.
You love to see it, man. The electricity is there tonight. I love it.
I mean, they're just picking up kill after kill. They're playing slightly aggressive, but at that point, I feel like that's all on Cosmo to be able to play sight, while the entirety of UIUC is going to push and play aggressive and basically drop right into his gun on numerous occasions.
Another thing I've noticed was that even though they had the vertical holes, they weren't able to capitalize too much on those. It seems only the hatches were able to play a vital role in each of the defenders' plan.
I mean, sometimes that's all it takes. As you know, no plan goes 100% correctly all the time. There's
learned
always
that
going to be too true, and maybe too soon. However, but what can you really do? You got to make something work. You got to figure out something on the fly, and that's exactly what UIC is doing. They're making things work even when things look bleak. Cosmo able to pick up 3 and switch this man disadvantage, a heavy man disadvantage, by the way, into such a nice advantage for them and the round win. Solus having a bit of a hard time finding Ace's drone. However, they might be able to spot it now, as Zophia's drone is now gone. Not to be confused with Sweaty on Zofia, but Sophia playing Ace. Just trying to confuse us, as usual.
So this is the third time I've noticed, but apparently UIC does not necessarily have too much of a concern with setting up their site so late into the round. Last round it took about an extra 15 seconds. I wonder if UIUC will start to use that to their advantage and maybe notice it and start rushing.
I mean, if they're able to capitalize on it, then great. However, they've been having such a hard time with the roamers that I feel like if they try to capitalize on something like that, they'd have to just hit site direct. Otherwise, they're going to fall flat. Because the one people who do seem to be fully set up at the start of the round are those roamers. But Buoyancy is going to prove me wrong and knock out its Taco. But he's on the Kaid. So, again, I'm not really sure if that's necessarily the roamers, or if Buoyancy was just able to get near sight and get something going. Swordfish being very bold and very brave, not checking with the Specchio sensors to see if there's a Claymore and the like on his door, just running out anyways, and now being a little bit spotted as the rest of UIUC is getting a move on the rest of the map.
The Sophia heard some shots from out of nowhere and is starting to look to where they came from, which was kind of funny. Taking control of the what is that? The west side of the map? No, the east side of the map. UIUC seems to be relying solely on this drone and enter situation, which is a very good strategy in my opinion.
And I mean, it's not exactly not working out for them. Luckshot able to pick up Rennie on the opposite side of the fray. However, they're running out of time, and this is very similar to what we've seen each time. UIUC just is stalling out each time they come into contact with UIC, which, for UIC fans, is not a problem at all. For UIUC fans, it is not really what you want to be seeing, because you never want your team to be struggling to make a foothold, to make a push, to make any sort of pressure for the defensive side, and they're going to be able to get a kill. However, with as little time as they have, they're going to have to really do something to get a foothold, to get this execute going. They have a couple attackers on each side. They're almost staring at the heads of defenders on the other side. But sitting at 15 seconds, they're now first time pushing into sight, putting it into a 2v4, now 2v3, into a 2v2 with Luckshot getting multiple kills. And now 5 seconds, they have to pick up the defuse and get the plant down. But with Solus from below, they're going to be able to see. They're going to be able to try to shoot it, but they're not going to use their Specchio sensors. Instead, they're going to run into the gun. Interesting.
Does he know he can do that? Does he know he can look through the floor?
I can only imagine. The only reason I would think that they wouldn't be able to is if simply they started planting on a spot that is not destructible, in which I will take back everything I said. However, there was only one way to see, and I believe I missed. But assuming they were sitting on a destructible floor, that could have been the play of a lifetime, having possibly a spare impact in pocket, and even just their gun, knowing that defuse is having to be going down since the timer has stopped. To be honest, you don't really need to rush into the guns, because you want to stop that plant. At that point, you let the plant go down, you play the extra 45 seconds, and you make something happen. Because I'd much rather have 45 seconds to be able to peek while ADSing, and while being able to get an idea of where these defenders are, rather than having to rush 7 seconds and just sprint up with my gun at my hip and the enemy's sights on me.
Right, you always want to have some sort of plan, even if it's in a 1v2. Like, sometimes you just have to let them plant and just aim for retake as you search for some kind of information, whether that be from the cache side or from the other side. But so far, the basement here, as we switched, it seems... Oh, this Maji's going for a spawn peek out of stock. Will he get it? We'll see in about 30 seconds.
Oh, and he backed away just at the worst moment, I feel like he was almost going to have it.
It did seem like he was getting pre-fired, though, so I wonder if that was a good call.
I mean, it might have been the better call. However, it's something that we may not know, and maybe that's for the better. Whether it's better for him or better for both teams as a whole, we'll never know. It's like Schrodinger's peak. You don't peek it, you never know if it would have worked.
Yeah. Schrodinger's cat was the reference, by the way, just so you all know. I don't know.
I would
if you have any
these
physics majors in here. Oh,
assuming these are mostly college teams, I feel like they would know. However, Luckshot and CCDJ being knocked out both respectively, each getting a quick pick as well. Other than Luckshot, he was knocked out of this round. Not to say fairly early, but early enough.
is that the first time he's used that lion? That sorry, what's it?
I believe so. The EU1D.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have we seen Lion so far in this? I don't remember if we've seen him or not. However, UIC is going to be on a bit of a landslide now, being able to pick up 2. Both It's Taco and Cosmo falling, which those are both pretty solid picks. I know Cosmo was a very prominent figure in one of the UIC wins, and that's definitely a good pick to be able to knock out pretty early on. Now sitting at a minute 10, and I'll be honest, the push looks pretty solid by UIUC. The only thing is they have to make sure this execute goes off without a hitch, because if UIC is able to get any sort of foothold, they will. And Divalet is going to hear the drop, peek the prone player in Moto, that's Sweaty, being knocked out, but now put into a 1v3 with Ovalet or Divalet, the only one remaining. able to get a little bit of tags onto Buoyancy with the shotgun, but Plant's going to be going down in the meantime, leaving him with 45 seconds and now 2 more picks to pick up.
You still
Zofia
got
being
3
knocked out.
smoke grenades left.
He has them, but they're not going to be helpful as he has no idea where Rennie is lying in wait, and Rennie is all too aware of where his whereabouts may be.
As a smoke player, I think he needed to realize that he has a gadget that prevents a plant. Oh,
And we are going to lose one of the UIC members. And we're going to call a quick, I believe now, tech pause for UIC.
yeah. But back to what I was saying, I think the smoke was in a great position to prevent any kind of plant, but he just didn't use those open holes to his advantage nearly as well as he should have.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know for a fact that he knew where the attack was coming from.
True. He doesn't like there is a cutoff between that main stairs area and being able to throw it super easily, but also I think it's just, you might as well try because you got 3 left and you haven't used one and I think he heard the plant. Maybe he didn't, maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and he didn't hear the plant.
I mean, true enough. Because if you know where the plant's at, that is completely valid, and I 100% agree, as you definitely will want to be able to get those toxic babes out and be able to smoke off that plant, even just for a little bit to try and delay anything that's going on. But considering the situation he's at a 1v3, he's stuck in church, he's able to pick up 1 with the SMG-12, or the SMG-11, excuse me. But otherwise, he's not really able to do much. He took a lot of damage by Buoyancy trying to peek him with the shotgun while he was sitting bottom main. And other than that, what can you really do? You really have to be able to land those headshots and know exactly where these attackers are. It didn't look like he had any sort of information or comms or just intelligence about what was going on in general. He knew one was bottom main, as he had been shooting at him and shot back from. But with Rennie on the thermite, he had no idea where he may be. He could be over by AK for K9. He could be all the way back armory, just sitting in the pocket, or he could be by dummies for blue. It's such a catch-22 of where they might be for that plant, and you have no idea where it could be, considering the amount of ground and such that you lost with all the rest of your defending side being knocked out. There's no one to really give that information or even small calls of where they could be at.
Well, I think I was also being too harsh because when you start to think about it, he's probably in a pretty stressful situation. I mean, he's the last one remaining. Plant is going down. He has, a shotgun and 1 SMG that fires super hard, super rapidly, not super hard, and has a lot of knockback. So he's got to really land those shots precisely, and he's got to have some sort of game plan. He's got, it's game time. He's got to go from 1 to 3 to 1v0 and defuse at the same time. So I think that's an incredible amount of pressure to put on one person.
I mean, I can't disagree. But otherwise, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we are ready to hop right back into this after our second tech pause and see what round 5 has in store for us. And now moving back to basement yet again, UIC is going to try and see if they can get anything going on and see if they can iron out any issues they might have had throughout the first time around. They're able to get a very high and very far out roam going on. And interesting to see, UIC had a much, or excuse me, UIUC had a much better attack onto basement the second time around. As we know, they went basement first, they were able to win it with no questions asked. But UIUC was able to make something happen that they weren't able to before, and they're able to get that ground made, which I feel like is definite improvement, considering that now UIC is now having to go back here for a 3rd time to really iron out the mistakes that they showed in round 4.
Sorry, my mind went blank right there. I'm sorry. But yeah, ironing out those mistakes is vital in a ongoing matchup because you do never want to be caught doing the same mistake twice. And it seems like they didn't go for a spawn peek this time. So, and I don't. They only got one roamer, it seems.
And I mean, that's an interesting play. I know that Oryx is going to be playing over by main, playing that upstairs possibly, as well as the Mozzie being able to play top rafters. We might see Taco on Castle just around, able to really have something going on. Divula is going to take out CCDJ on the Jackal. Very interesting that the Roamer is going to knock out Jackal. However, if you can't get that gunshot, it's not going to work too well. Sword Dish is able to knock out Rennie as well, putting this into a quick 5v3 just over a minute into the round.
They've taken out their hard breaches, and they do have the Thatcher, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, because we got one Thatcher pushing from dirt. I don't know where the rest of his team is. Maybe he's just trying to pressure, but I think they need another game plan here with, you know, a minute and 30 left to go.
I mean, considering how many roamers are, it doesn't not make sense to get a on-site hit. And Luckshot taking a little bit of damage by Buoyancy, getting that Toxic Babe to really slow his approach. However, considering that they don't have much left to lose, I wouldn't be surprised if they just run it. But they're going to do just that, and Buoyancy is going to be knocked out, sitting at a now 5v2 with all the defenders now back to site. I think maybe aside from one.
Oh,
but it's not going to matter too much.
Oh no.
The picks are going to go out, and the aggressiveness is going to start against this 4v1 as they know exactly where he is. Zofia on the buck, sitting with his C8, very trusty C8 in hand, but it's not going to do much to Sword Dish, who's going to snipe him from all the way in the back from that box.
It's one of the worst things you can see when 3 team members are going through the exact same door one at a time and dying each time. It's not something you want to see too positively as someone who, as maybe a coach or viewer knows. That's not a good idea.
Though considering the amount of hell that UIC has been giving them in general, it's almost like they don't have a lot of options left at that point. Because you could try to get those picks, you could try to knock out those roamers, but what are you going to do when all 5 of them rotate back to site and you're sitting at now 2v5 or even 3v5 and you have to push site? They can get as many angles as literally possible on you because they have all of their guns. They can hold literally anything they want, and you have to peek someone knowing that you're being held by at least one other angle as well. So you have to peek into multiple guns each time you want to take a fight, and while it's not preferable, that's all you have left.
So this castle has run basically the same setup all rounds, and I mean it's working. So you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I wonder if UIUC should start to combat that sort of idea and maybe use that sledge for the castles more often. But I don't know. Do you think that they should do that, or is that just a lost cause?
I mean, they do have the sledge in hand, as they have the majority of this, I believe. And the one thing that I feel like would be good for them, because as a sledge, you kind of just want to knock those out as you see them. Take that utility off so that other people don't have to do it. Because little known fact, if you're unaware, you get 25 hits with your sledgehammer on any material, even if it's not destructible, even if it's just a little clink onto a cement wall, that knocks out one of your uses. So you have 25 total uses, and what's 4 castle barricades to 25? It's honestly, it's almost a waste not to hit any castle barricade you see as sledge, unless it's going to be almost even more beneficial for you to leave it up as a safety net, because some angles, granted, are better to sit behind a castle barricade with as an attacker, because then you know that those defenders aren't going to be able to come that way without making a considerable amount of noise, or at least an explosion. As we see here, they're going to be able to get tub wall opened just a minute into the round. And they're going to be able to have this spot to be able to push up. One of UIUC is already going down, Rennie the first to fall, but it's going to be quickly remedied by 2 more attacking kills onto the defense. Both Valk, now 3 with Lookshot, Sword Dish, and Deviolette all falling, as CCDJ will fall as well, able to push into bathroom and pick up the kill, putting this into a 1v2 situation with the last offsite. Cosmo able to hold it, however, he is going to fall by the hand of Zofia as well.
just going so far by the votes so far, I think we're all pretty accurate. It seems to be a really close matchup, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next couple rounds because it seems like they both are going neck and neck here, and that's what you always want to see that in any teams that go against each other.
I mean, that's the thing. Whether you're from one team or from another, us casters, we really have no bias, or at least we shouldn't. However, the one bias I will sit by is I simply just hope that each game is as entertaining as possible. Whether it goes all 15 rounds for all 3 maps, so be it. If it's a fun game and if it's entertaining, then that is what I am here to see. It doesn't matter to me who wins or who loses. The only difference is I get a little sad when my records for our staff votes go under. But much to my dismay, it still gives us a great game, and that's what we're here for. Whether you're a viewer, whether you're a player, whether you're a caster, or anyone in between, what you really love to see is those good played games that will keep you at the edge of your seat, keep you grasping for more, and just your appetite absolutely unsatiated, because then you need another great game, and you need another, and that is what we look for.
Something I'm seeing is that the Kate has not we have a spawn peak possibly coming.
He's gonna look at him through the wall, but he's not gonna be able to take the shot. That would have been a quick kill through the barricade. He's gonna run out, but no! But yes! Luckshot's gonna take out CCDJ. However, Sweaty is going to pick up the refrag and just kind of quickly put a remedy onto that situation. Honestly, that's no big deal on either side. For CCDJ, you lose a Nitro Cell on Thunderbird, which is unfortunate. And for Luckshot, you lose the ability to hack into cams. But considering it's CCTV, there's no major cams other than probably Garage, which at this point, these attackers are going to have pre-placed drone for. And otherwise, I don't feel like there's too much intel to gain. Even with the logic bombs now off the table, it's what are you going to really use them for? You know where people are sitting. You know they're going to be hanging around by green box, on rafters, sitting on server rack. You know there's going to be one playing top red. You know there's probably going to be one in construction. You know these default spots that everyone goes to, and you know how these people play like that. At that point, all the logic bombs are doing is just confirming what you, to be honest, already know.
Right. I am yawning right now, I'm sorry.
With UIC able to get a little bit of a lead going on, sitting at 4v2. Looking a little bit better as the nade comes in by Sword Dish to put this into a 4v1. Now all on the hands of Sweaty, who is now revealed by an air jab. Plant able to go down by Taco. And they're not going to be any the wiser, as it's going down for green box rather than onto server, which might have been initially expected. But now they're going to have to walk up the stairs into a gun on each side, one being held on red, and now, as we see, Raptors being able to take the victory.
Yeah. I think it went downhill real quick all of a sudden for UIUC, as Slight just got overwhelmed by that breach from the thermite and from that outer wall by the server. So I think just the combination of those angles just really put a detrimental effect on the defensive positioning of UIUC there.
And I mean, it's working for UIC. They're playing very aggressive, they're playing very smart, and just very static. And that's the thing. UIUC is able to get some good plays going on when they're able to capitalize on the faults and on the missteps of UIC. But otherwise, UIC is really running the floor here. And especially so now being up 1 on their defensive half. They're able to win 3 of their, on their attacking half. They're able to win 3 of their defensive half and make something happen. And now they're able to run the floor even more so for the first round on their attacking side. Able to really lock down CCTV to the point where UIUC doesn't even want to try to go back. They're going to instead go to basement and see if they can have a better, more set up hold there.
So, talking about the basement, they've opened that moto hatch over by the bar area Have you ever seen that before? Do you know what the purpose is?
Yes, actually, because I predict if that hatch is open, then this is going to be a very roam-heavy play, specifically for first floor, to be able to then drop down to basement. They still have kitchen hatch closed. They still have the stock hatch closed. However, with the moto hatch open, they're going to be able to play more aggressively in bar and then have a safe fallback as soon as they realize, oh, they're playing super aggressive up top, so we're going to drop down and take site direct. And then at that point, all the roamers in bar just drop down moto and are able to fill. And Taco already taking a little bit of damage on a small peek outside secret, and Rennie playing very aggressive into dirt, trying to just delay if they try to do a site take. But I mean, what else is there really to do? You got all these different ways that you can attack, and Sword Dish is going to shut down Zofia. And even more so, put this into a 5v4 with UIC at the helm, just doing everything. They have one on each side, putting so much pressure on UIUC, and there's really nothing UIUC can do about it.
I wonder what the game plan is for the attackers right now, because it seems like they're sort of attacking them from all angles, which is good on a roaming setup, but as a viewer, I can't really see what the end game here is, because it seems like, okay, I understand the end game now. I think they are finally setting up rotations, making sure that they can clearly see the objective, and they're gonna get that thermite in there to open up some angles and get the plant down, hopefully. So
Well, I
let's see
mean,
if
they definitely have their late roam locked down, and I feel like that is the most important part at this point in time. Sitting at a minute left, they're sending a couple guys down through secret and flashbangs into Moto. T-Violet flashing themselves a little bit, but able to drop, but unsuccessful as Buoyancy just shuts him down. Sitting at a 4v4, taking a little bit of damage himself, almost switching into a 4v3, but not quite. Sweaty as well, taking a bit of damage as Sword Dish tries to make anything happen at bottom main, able to knock out that Styria gate and have a little bit of a foothold. As CCDJ is going to peek right into the gun of Lockshot as Buoyancy falls in the meantime. And Sweaty is going to fall as well, leaving Rennie the only one remaining, sitting all the way over by blue side, able to knock down Lockshot. But how long is this going to last? Sitting at just a shred of health, quite literally one shot, and he is going to be knocked out by Cosmo as UIC takes another round.
Yeah, you really hate. I think this is the second time now where Sight has been completely overwhelmed by just the amount of counterplay between each of the different areas you can attack from, in the site. So, like we've been saying, if it ain't broken, if it's working, do what you gotta do. I think UIUC needs to find a way to combat that, to really close off some of those angles, like with either some gadgets or maybe not a roam presence, because if you're attacking this site, I don't know if you kind of need people to roam around,
And I mean, that's the thing. They do have that roam, and that's okay. A good roam is a good roam, but UIC is doing just a fantastic job of shutting them down. And now we see Brava coming in, or at least potentially coming in. She's on the attacking list, and that's going to be interesting. I still haven't seen her used, whether in just standard or even pro play, because
Could you
as she
explain
just came out.
Can you explain Brava a little bit? Because I don't
So-
think our viewers might not know.
Brava is our newest operator and is now being taken off the board. As we see, it's still a basement hold, so they're going to bring Luckshot onto the Jackal set. But Brava is our newest operator of Year 8, Season 1, as Year 8 has just started, I believe, this Tuesday, actually.
Yeah.
And considering people may not know or be unaware, her Kludge drones are very, very interesting. They're unlike any drone we've seen so far, able to really prove that no defense is as perfect as it may seem. Her Kludge drone able to infiltrate and send out these little signals, which basically, if you've played any other game that like any Call of Duty game that has the ability to change the orientation of the gadgets, it is very similar. Whereas you're able to hack and control defender gadgets with that drone, whether it be Capcan EEDs, there you're able to hack and turn against the defenders, so instead of blowing up for you, it'll simply blow up for them. However, Luckshot is not so lucky. no pun intended, to be able to walk into an EDD that has not been hacked. He will lose health and eventually his life by the hands of Zofia. And Taco being very wary as he's also at half health. Zofia taking a little bit of damage in the meantime. But the rest of UIC is able to really capitalize on stuff going on here. Able to really get a foothold and knock out Zofia and switch this from a 5v4 to a 4v4. Quickly turned into a 3v4 from Sweaty getting that Nitro Cell out and knocking out its Taco. Putting this not at the best spot for UIC, which is quite in contrast to what we saw last round.
Getting some control. Oh, never mind. Being denied control immediately. Devilit was trying to get some, so. But Cosmo trying to regain that same control, putting down some of his. I forget the name of the gadget. It's air jabs, right?
Yeah.
So putting down some air jabs, getting some of that sort of almost dignity back over that map control to really solidify your presence. Using these vertical throws, trying to get some angles, maybe unexpectedly on defenders. What do you think is gonna? What do you think their game plan right now? What do you think is going through their heads?
I mean, the thing is, they're running out of time, and they know it. They're well aware. They're getting those air jabs set up to be able to try and lock Rennie down. But the thing is, it's a 2v4, and they have just over 30 seconds. It's not looking great. Flashes are going down into blue, and the hot drop by Sword Dish is going to come out. He's a little bit flashed and disoriented, and Cosmo is going to fall as well as Sword Dish with a very dominant and very overwhelming UIUC victory. Definitely a bit of a comeback compared to last time.
What happened last time?
Well, I mean, as we saw, UIUC kind of fell flat on basement, didn't they not? UIC was able to really just knock them out of the park. And, well, UIUC definitely learned from their mistakes, I believe, and were able to make something happen despite the issues they had.
Mirror Pit coming out now on the second floor from UIUC. I haven't seen Mirror used yet at all. Have you?
I don't believe we have quite yet. Very interesting to see buoyancy on it. But it makes sense. For an upstairs hold, they have it for the bathroom wall. It's understandable. It makes sense. And I respect it. Well, the thing is, you have to be able to play it, and you have to be able to play it well. And I imagine at this level, both of these teams are very capable of playing Mira. It's just the better way now to have to defend that wall, because you can get naded if you don't have a Jaeger, which we do on Sweaty. However, it's still not going to work out if you just get rushed with that. As well as that Mira Black Mirror is going to do for you, you have to be able to play it, and you have to be able to play it well, and hope that the attackers aren't just going to bum rush it like it's just a simple game of ranked. Because if you're not prepared and you're not ready to face that fire with fire, you're going to get burnt.
Hopefully we don't see that here. Hopefully they know what they're doing and it'll actually be interesting, but you never know. Seems like they are taking the same approach that UIUC did on the first round, where they were taking control of that garage area, trying to enter through that cache site. But I don't know if UIUC is holding that area very, very effectively right now.
And I mean, it makes sense if that's going to be a push by UIC to be able to get something going. They know that the mute jammer is on the wall, so they're going to be able to place the thermite exothermic charge on the opposite side to be able to get that impact EMP off, and in general avoid that impact tricking in general for the defending side, able to get that wall open, and the Osa Talon 8 shield just kind of hanging out right outside breach, able to really hold this as Taco's drone is a bit jammed. And that's not going to do them too well, but Deviate sees the castle on the door, the quick peeks, jiggle peeks going out left and right, quite literally. And CCDJ is just hanging around in Logi, trying to get a sight onto him.
On the other side here, we see the Zofia slowly, I mean not the Zofia, the IQ slowly crawling in, but taking some damage from the Alibi here. And the Alibi will go down. Seems like they have relinquished control of cache completely, and I don't know if this Jaeger is going to do all that much justice for that refrag.
And I mean, whether he wants to or not, UIC has really just kind of stormed right in here, cleared out Sophia, and they have all the time in the world now to work this map over. They're sitting at a minute, which to be honest is not the most time, but considering they have man advantage, ever so slightly even, they still have something to work with. They have the mirror on the Logi side. However, they do have Swordfish on Sledge, who's going to cook that nade, get a lot of damage onto CCTJ, but not quite finish him. Sword Dish is going to go down as well, and then CCTJ is going to pick up another. But Diaviolette is not going to let that go unanswered as he picks up Rennie in the meantime, switching this into the 3v3. IQ knowing that they're not going to be able to push that mirror very safely, trying to get something going on, but just 30 seconds remaining in the round. There's not too much to be done. UIC really has to get a foothold going on here, but they can't get in without being spotted by the Alibi Prismas, but the plant will go down regardless, because who is going to stop him? As soon as that plant sticks, it will not actually, because Sweaty came to help. And now on a 1v3 defuse on the ground, it is not looking good. Sitting at a 1v2, having to go for the kills, but not having the time to, UIUC is going to win that round just on time and possibly sheer luck of being able to get that plant stopped.
You never want to see the plant go so far down to the wire where the defenders have almost such a limited time. You really want to see that those defenders have that rotate under control and have that sort of gauge as to whether they're going to be able to deny it or not. And it didn't seem like they were at first, right?
I mean, it looked like UIC had the win in their bag. They were looking a little bit worse for wear and had really low time, but if they were so close to getting that plant down. And that's the thing. If they would have gotten that plant down, that would have been a win. They had the situation where they could sit on these angles. Hell, even Osa by the mirror could have just hung around and used the mirror to her advantage, punching it out, cracking the mirror so that she cannot be seen. However, still being able to look through the head holes that were given to her to stop the push from the Logi side over, as well as our other attacker who was sitting over by Highway. I believe it was IQ. They had so much ability to make something happen, and unfortunately for them, it was not something that was going to work.
Yeah, I just that alibi really did not provide that much more of a which resistance against the attacking force that UAUC had, and kind of didn't really slow him down, which is unfortunate.
But I mean, again, no plan is perfect. You can't really do much sometimes. You're just doing the best you can with the information and setups given. But UIC is going to have to probably do a little bit better, to be honest, if they're going to have to make something work here. They really fell flat against that defense, even more so than the time before that they did with Basement. But now they have to attack Bar, which is primarily, like I said before, a very roam-heavy site. And as we're seeing with Rennie, on a Kaid of all things, roaming completely off-site. Notice the Flores drone, the Arteo drone is there, but is going to peek the buck, not get the headshot, and miss ever so slightly. Another RCA Artero drone coming out while the stun grenades do hit off the wall and blind him, leaving him full whited, as Sword Dish is going to hop in, perhaps unbeknownst to Kaid, and maybe get a little use on the skeleton key, which he will, but it won't do anything to the wall. And it will this time as C4 goes out, not cracking anyone, switching to the C8, able to knock down Kaid, which is quickly cleaned up by a luck shot. Just switching into a nice little bit. Zofia taking a lot of damage on the alibi, and simply looking a little bit worse for wear as he now has to face a lot of these attackers simply on his own, as CCDJ is doing a little bit and trying to do his best to cover as Luckshot knocks out Sweaty. But what can you really do? You're sitting at a now 4v3, 2 at least off-site. So considering the fact that there's 4 attackers and there maybe is 1 defender on site, being Buoyancy, and he's not even on site, he's a bit off-site, you could very easily take that. But instead, CCDJ is just going to further his lead on the roam.
If you look, I'm just noticing now, but if you look, the amount of flashbangs that the attacking team has is just astronomical. And certainly they've used that to their advantage with Rennie, but it looks like Sordish will get a kill on CCDJ, furthering their lead on UIUC and opening up these windows and angles onto the site will definitely help them in the future. What do you think? Do you think Buoyancy has? He's used one of his gadgets at least. I hear it, and taking some damage now, both at half health. What do you predict is going to happen?
I mean, he has one Toxic Babe left in pocket, and now he's sitting at very low health. I imagine only 15 or 20 health in general. And he's going to be the last one. But he's sitting so low on time, yet it doesn't matter. Because UIC is going to hop right in there and pressure him just enough for him to make a move, reveal himself, and then be shot. Which is great for them, unfortunate for UIUC. But what can you really do?
Right, when just everything, so much chaos at once, the Smoke is kind of sitting in a very vulnerable position there behind the bar. It seems the whole attacking, specifically the Buck had just so many uses out of that skeleton key that it didn't seem possible for them to get away from the sights of the attacking force.
But I
Going
mean,
into this next round, I wonder what'll. It's match point, so UIUC has to change something.
well, they're trying, and that's the thing. They've won quite a couple of these rounds. They won their basement into CCTV, and are now sitting at basement yet again, which they've won once, they've lost once. So they have the ability to make it work, because they can't go back to CC, they can't go back to bar, of course. Or they could go back to bar, but they are not, as it didn't work out quite the way they hoped, and
No, I don't think
very
so.
nearly. And I don't think they were happy with how it turned out at all. Even though it came down to a 1v1 situation technically, but more so a 1v2 situation, it looks like they are very unhappy with the way it turned out, so they're just not going to deal with it in general. You know what is very interesting about this? I saw this last round, and I want to touch on it this time. They have 9 flashbangs in pocket. Once, I mean, they got a set on Buck, they got a set on Flores, and I believe they have a set on Nomad.
They had even more last time, did they not?
I think they did. I think they almost all had flashbangs. Because we see the Buck, or the Ace, sorry, having Claymores, and we see the Yana having the grenades. And I mean, you have a lot of flashbangs in hand, and in pocket, rather. And I really just hope that they actually get their use, because last time they really didn't. However, it still worked out for UIC. They were able to capitalize and take over that round no matter what. But otherwise, it's...
But we did see that one cash play on the K where he was getting constantly flashed at.
And
Trade
that's
coming
gonna
out.
that's gonna
garage
knock out some flashes quite immediately.
area.
Cosmo losing 3. I believe he used 1 just before he went down. So effectively losing 2 of his flashbangs out of those 9. But Sweaty is going to go down as well shortly after picking up his kill into a little bit of a 4v4. Just a minute and a half remaining. CCDJ sitting very far off of sight in Logi, playing the very deep and very late roam. Very nearly avoiding the drone and getting the tag on the Luckshot, but he's not able to finish it. Luckshot spins around and capitalizes where CCDJ could not, on a very unfortunate play for UIUC. Now sitting with man disadvantage, Oryx being spotted, but it doesn't matter because he's going to pick up 1, but he's going to get damaged and get quickly refragged by Devialet. Sophia trying to do what he could, but it not working out in the long run. Now sitting at just a minute left. UIC has the man advantage, but they still have to take out Buoyancy and Rennie, both on the Smoke and Jaeger respectively. Luckshot sitting at very low health considering the allies that he has with him, both Devialet and Taco sitting untouched. Having some of the utility to use, both grenades by Luckshot still in pocket, as well as the Claymores by its Taco still in pocket. And then as we know, RCE Arteo drones still have yet to be thrown out and used to take out as much utility as they can. Still has all 4 in pocket, but they're still able to get Breach open, and a Toxic Babe will go out to stop the push. But with just 15 seconds, they put it into a 3v1 with Rennie Rennie being knocked out and Buoyancy being all alone. Plant going down by its taco. Buoyancy almost seeing one, but just very nearly missing the opportunity to get that pick. But now just with 40 seconds, he has to pick up 3 and still have 7 seconds to spare to be able to get that defuse, at least, if he knows exactly where it is. He's gonna really have to do something here, because excuse me, where was he looking? To be honest, I have no idea, but it works out for Buoyancy all the same.
See the smoke?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Just very nearly, Luckshot is going to be able to switch his gun onto Buoyancy as he sees his shoulder and maybe has a quick call to be able to help him out. And UIC is going to be able to take that first map and make something happen wherein all hope may have seemed a little bit lost. Now we're going to be moving on to map 2 soon enough, momentarily. And we have
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What an
What a keep goes down.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their design position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the.
Oh, Sludge. Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
The blitz is in.
Oh, but
Midwest R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestrr6league@gmail.com to get started.
Seconds left.
have the glass. What
What a keep goes down.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their design position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the.
Oh, Sludge. Come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
The blitz is in. Oh, but
West R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestr6league@gmail.com to get started.
Seconds left.
have the glass. What an
What a
execute
keep
right
goes
now.
down. Able to find that. Really good.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade.
And welcome back, everyone. In place of our nice face cams, we have our lovely headshots, which may be so lovely to you guys, but to us, we feel like that is the worst picture we've ever been in, and from the end of time.
I mean, at least yours looks competent. Mine just looks like some 12-year-old trying to take a picture for the first time.
You're trying your best, and that's okay.
God, I took that.
It's
so long
fine. You
ago.
look great. You look great, Fang. It's
You look
okay.
better.
No,
I like the
no, you
beauty.
look better. But anyways, we had a lovely map one with UIC being able to take it. They had a big start, and UIUC was able to come back just a little bit and give them a run for their money, but they're still able to knock it out before it ran into overtime. UIC being able to win map one of Clubhouse, and we're going to be heading over to Oregon. And we're going to see if anything is going to be changing up there. UIC starting on attack, and UIUC is on defense. And we'll just have to see what goes on. As we know, Oregon is definitely more a strategic map for those disciplined teams. But with undisciplined teams, you can be very aggressive, and it can pay off very easily and very quickly. But
What I will say is the previous map we've just watched was a UIUC pick, and this is a UIC pick. So I don't know if anything's gonna if the roles might be swapped today, but we'll see. You know, I'm always curious to see what each team brings to a map.
And I mean, that will just have to be that'll just remain to be seen, because we're going to be hopping right into this momentarily and get this show on the road for you guys. And honestly, I can't wait. Oregon isn't a map that I absolutely love seeing day in and day out, because honestly, again, if you've watched a stream, if you've played in comp, if you played any sort of Siege, you get stuck in Oregon all the time, to the point where me and my friends, we call it Borigan, because we just see it so often. You don't see anything new. You see the same thing over and over again as many times as you have to. And I mean, at this point, what else do you have to see?
Yeah. Sometimes when I see it, I say no more again. You know, just
That's good. I'm gonna steal that actually. I'm gonna write that down and just see that all the time. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe some of these teams are ready to get schmovin'. So we'll be able to see what's going on and see who up and who's going to be going down. What do you think that we're going to be seeing more this time, Fang?
what do I think? Well, we do know that there are pretty standard setups for this map, including the game setup where you have that electrified wall as well as the attic wall electrified as well, the hatch open and stuff like that. What I'm more interested to see is what each team does with that intermediate sort of sites. So the meeting hatch or the meeting area, the the setup between the not the main entrance but the small tower and the showers, stuff like that.
I mean, I couldn't
That's
agree
where
more.
creativity really shines, you know?
As well as as much as you're able to play that, you have to kind of make it work for yourselves and basically just play it to the best of your abilities to really throw the attacking team for a loop. And that's exactly what they're going to want to be doing. They're going to want to be giving them these variables that they have to take over and just try to make something happen, while UIC is going to have to struggle on attack, and they're gonna have to make something work. They're gonna have to either get some drones, get some utility, get some ops in there, get some guns going, because they've been very confident in their guns, as we've seen by their very aggressive and very roam heavy strats, which I imagine won't change much at all going into Oregon. Because honestly, if you're a good aggressive team, if you have that ability, you're able to switch it on, especially for such an easy map as Oregon. But like, that's the thing. You have to make something work. You have to get that going. And if you're unable to get that aggressiveness going on while you're an aggressive team on Oregon, of all places, then that's going to look pretty bad for you. Because these teams that are more strat heavy, that are more sophisticated and disciplined in their strats, are going to be playing those strats. They're going to be having those solid setups. And if you're going to try to take a slow push as a less strat heavy team with that aggressiveness and not use that aggression, then you're gonna fall apart. Then you can't really run into these strats without strats if you're not aggressive, because then you're just, it's like seeing a house fire and you go, oh, okay, I have a mug full of water, I can throw that on the fire. Where is that gonna get you? I mean, then you have to run to the faucet, you have to fill up the water, you have to chuck a mug at the fire again. That's not doing anything for you. You have to have that fire hose. You have to have the people who are able to make something go. And I mean, what else can you do?
Right. And the other side of that coin is, some of it, the best plays that I've seen from both of these teams have come when they've got nothing left and they're sort of improvising. And that's what really I think this map is very good at showing, is what happens when you don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, at that point,
those extra ideas that come out of nowhere with the random pushing or droning and then maybe pushing all at once.
and I mean, you just got to figure something out. And with that, we're going to be hopping right into this game. And we're going to be figuring this out, actually. As much as these teams have to figure out their opponents still, maybe, and figure out how they're going to go against each other on the everyone's favorite worst map of Oregon.
Yeah. Can you predict the 4 operators? Let's go.
Never. We're gonna see the Flores. Makes sense, because you don't want to have the RCE Artero drones on that elbow hold. It's very easy to clear that if you're not paying attention. And I imagine
you mean the elbow in the
for a basement, yeah. And I mean, as much as we saw last time, I think we're gonna see that knock. And yes, we are. And otherwise, I feel like we're gonna see a Miraban and possibly Azami or Solus. One or the other here.
Can we go 3 for 3?
Solus, there it is.
Okay, all right.
I'll take it. And
Mira,
it's gonna be Mira or
you
Azami.
I think Cade.
Cade. That's interesting. So, one thing about Cade, because he is very good for basement, but he's also very solid for the upstairs holds, and it makes sense to take him off the board. But considering, are we going to see it? No, we are going to see the Azami.
You're better at this than me.
I mean, I would say the same for rodeo.
I caught you at a bad time. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's the thing. I've been around here a time or two.
Apparently, I'm getting this now. Apparently, it's DVAL. It's not DVLit. Apparently, the T is silent.
Oh, noted.
So it's DVAL.
Very
DVLA?
interesting. I mean, DVLA. That's I feel like that's my guess.
Sounds cooler. It sounds cooler. So I'm gonna go with DVLA.
Assuming the T is silent, we're gonna say DVLA. And we're gonna just hope for the best and hope that he's not too upset if that is not the way you say the name. We're doing our best. However, we're gonna be hopping right into round 1, sitting at a second floor hold, with UIC able to attack the UIUC defense. And this is a pretty static defense, honestly. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be one of the first two. You're gonna either go basement or you're gonna go upstairs. That is your first play, and then your second is exactly the opposite. And I mean, look, you're not really seeing anything different. You're seeing the static reinforcements, seeing attic reinforcements, seeing the trophy wall reinforced, one with head holes, one with not. and then closet, of course, being reinforced. You see a shield for trophy, and you see a shield for attic for pit, and that is just as basic as it gets. Honestly, that is just very classic. But the first pick coming from CCDJ onto Luckshot, immediately knocking out a quick entry just as the round starts. What did I tell you? The aggressiveness of this map is so high. People who play aggressively on other maps will simply just play a few times more aggressive on this map.
Obviously, that was the skill difference, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. I
This
feel like
shield I've seen
every
plenty of
death can be
times.
chalked up.
Oh my god.
They're gonna get this nade almost blowing up in their hands, timing that a bit wrong, taking out a drone of theirs in the process. But they're still gonna be able to knock out that shield with the second try. Sword Dish gonna be down a nade on their absolute, a little bit of an oopsie daisy. And that's okay. They're down now all of their nades as Luckshot had 2 in pocket when going down. Sword Dish almost walking around into the Frost welcome mat, but nearly being able to spot it before they go down. Cosmo
I don't know if you
almost
just
doing
caught
the same
that.
as well.
I don't know if you just caught that, but the Sledge tried to reload cancel, and something that they introduced is that when you reload cancel, you're left with, you just did it again, see?
He
He's at
did.
1 bullet.
You are exactly right. That is probably the most unfortunate feature that's been added. He's peeking this with 1 bullet, but DVLA and Cosmo are going to be able to pick up one as well. I am so curious. I feel like Sword Dish is going to have this blow up in his face if he doesn't realize that he's sitting at 1 bullet. But still put it at a 3v2. Maybe maybe a 2v2 if Sword Dish realizes that he's on 1 bullet.
Let's see if he
Which
did.
I feel like he might have. But maybe not, as CCDJ will come around and pick him up. Sweaty and CCDJ being the only 2 remaining for UIUC. And they're doing a fine job, honestly. They've wrenched the time as much as they can really do. Just with 2 remaining, they're able to pick up the picks that they had to, and now Taco and Cosmo have to make something work, but CCDJ is going to go down in the process, putting this into a 2v1, and now UIC is going to get aggressive, Cosmo getting right in there, and Taco able to get this plant down, because we know Sweaty on the Frost is not going to have anything to deny it. They're going to have to use their gun, now relying on the final 40 seconds of that defuse being planted. They're going to have to pick up the 2, and then still have 7 seconds at least to spare to get that defuse canceled. And now they're going to have to peek around, getting hit by the air jab, but not peeked as a result. That is almost very unfortunate for UIC that quickly remedies it by Taco getting that kill.
Yeah, just that completely scary moment with where the Frost just gets completely knocked down by that air jab is probably one of the most horrifying moments in Siege that you can have. I would not want to be in that position, and they held that really well. I think the angles were covered from the dorm to the kids' side very well. Those little holes there.
You're not wrong, because they were able to get those footholds and really capitalize that, as well as the head holes for top white, head holes for trophy into pit. They're able to have all these different angles that they're able to use the best of their ability and make something happen. However, it's blown up in the face of UIUC, as UIC was able to make something happen out of those instead. They were able to use those against UIUC. I love the fact that these names are so similar. I just wonder if anyone's sitting here trying to figure out who I'm talking about when I'm saying the same 3 letters over and over.
Could we start saying like CGC or like
CGC
Ignis
and
or like
CGC
Illini?
and Illini? That, you know what? I completely agree with that. But with CGC being able to take that round, they're able to get that foothold against Illini, and that's fine. They're able to get that first round, and that's an important round because they're on attack, and Illini doesn't... That's very unfortunate for Illini to lose that first defense round, because again, Oregon is probably one of the biggest maps for defense. We already see CCGJ getting very aggressive on this spawn peak. Now, not so much a spawn peak, but just a peek to outside, trying to catch anyone who might be going around a classroom. But DVLA is going to be watching through into trophy, waiting for anyone to get aggressive and peek off that shield. He knows that someone has to be there, as he sees the bullets hit just around him, trying to spray it and get ahead, but he's not going to be quite successful. He sees the back of Zofia, is going to tag it quite a bit, and now Wamai is sitting quite a bit worse for wear. Proximity mines going off in the offside.
Zofia
As
already
Sword
up
Dish tries
the
to
main
do something.
stairs here.
They're just
Very,
moving right along.
It's crazy.
They're getting that early map control, which, I mean, to be honest, out of all the spots to be having that map control, I feel like Armory is going to be the easiest. Smoke Toxic Babe is going to go out and in hopes to try to stall a little bit, but that's only going to be 10 or so seconds that they can hold off, as Sword Dish and Luckshot move around to the other side. Sword Dish able to get right into T1 for tower, and then Luckshot trying to go for T2, maybe trying to extend the reach, as they do have Breach open, and Zofia is going to be knocked down by Divule, and that's going to be a quick down, and possibly a pick. However, they might still be able to get that res off if they play it smart and safely. He's in not a bad spot, but he's sitting right at the top of white on these head holes. If anyone got aggressive up white, as Sweaty had to check to make sure, he would have been in a very bad position. But now Zofia's sitting much as he was just a few moments prior, at just 20 health, as the rest of UIC is getting a very aggressive, being able to take out Buoyancy, getting this attic control and master control, but it looks like CCDJ is going on a big roam here. He's walking up, grabs one, but Cosmo is going to be able to get a refrag onto Rennie. And the welcome mat, stopping Luckshot in his tracks on a 4v1 with, who guessed it, Zofia being left all alone, then finished off by Divule.
Yeah, that previous down really did not help his situation. It seems like he was sort of in a worse for wear, as he was stuck by those white stairs constantly and couldn't really move out of that position. So I think they kind of had a lock on him even when he was, down.
I mean, he tried his best, and that's I mean, what's important.
That's
But
commendable.
then yeah, that's all you really can do at a moment like that. You're sitting at a 1v3 with 20 health, which means any shot that you take from any gun is going to kill you. Pistols, especially, actually. Even anything from SMGs, assault rifle, any gun in this game will kill you at 20 health with one shot. And quote me if I'm wrong, and tell me, because I am pretty sure any shot to the chest, legs may not be the same, but chest for sure, if you get hit in the chest, and of course the head, you will be out for the count.
I'm gonna say I don't know.
I mean, now moving into round 3, things are looking pretty good for CGC. Illini is having to make a lot of ground back, because they lost their first 2 defending rounds, which is not a great start. As you know, with a lot of these teams, you want to have a big defending start, especially if you're going to defense first, and especially on a map like Oregon.
They've spawned toward the main entrance, which could end the tower. So I think that they're gonna go for this sort of west to east push from.
I mean,
all 3s are down.
You might be exactly right, because they're ignoring the majority of tower side, taking a little bit of checks to make sure they're not getting peeked out from. But you're exactly right. I feel like this is going to be a heavy main freezer take. As we're seeing, they're already trying to clear upstairs. They're clearing small tower. They've cleared through dining with drones, and they already have a player being Sword Dish into garage. They have this main control and this main foothold to walk through. Luckshot sees that the drone's knocked out by freezer stairs and is going to be able to peek it and hold this alibi, who's going to be knocked right out. Sweaty's out of here, and that's a big roam to be able to take early on. And Oryx is going to fall victim to Luckshot as well, as they use their Ramadash to be put right into the sights of Luckshot for him to net his second kill, as Divule might just end up catching Jaeger through the wall, possibly taking shots but not knowing that he's crouched, and Luckshot picking up a third onto Buoyancy as the EMP goes out for Divule to be able to get that hatch open. And this is looking like such an overwhelming round for Luckshot, specifically having 4, and the last and his ace being taken by Cosmo as he picks up CCDJ, and that is such a big round for CGC.
I think that was one of the most powerful rounds we've seen yet. Seems like they got into the building, they knew what they were doing, they took control of the top floor, they went downstairs, and they just They, like they would say, they got business done. That's what we'll say.
I mean, Luckshot, to be honest, he did the proverbial hold my beer and walked into the building, picked up one after another, moved on to site, just cleared site all alone.
He didn't say hold my beer. He said hold my pitcher is what he said.
and they did. Everyone other than Cosmo did. They all made it a team effort to hold that for him as he went off on a tear. He walked into site, basically, after killing Alibi and on Sweaty and being able to move down Freezer. He just walked into site and cleared everything by himself. The only one who was remaining was CCDJ, simply because CCDJ wasn't on site. And I mean, what a better way to win a round, to be honest. To not even have to have anyone other than a single player on your team enter site and clear it themselves. That's pretty big, and that's going to incite a very aggressive response by CCDJ here, as we already see him on cams for construction, have that barricade prepped so that he can peek it, or even just quickly run out and get a spray onto somebody. And he's waiting. He's ready. He has gun in hand, he's rearing to go, and he's being very careful. He hears the drone go out, I can only imagine, by Sworddish. Sworddish getting the drone in for T1 as the rest of his team pushes elsewhere. Luckshot over by Shower Hall for Freezer, and then DVLA on main. Just getting a little bit of eyes on everywhere. And we already see that Zofia is on the upstairs hold, just all alone. And they're going to try and capitalize this. Luckshot is very ready for his peak, sitting on top of white, but Zofia might know, and that's why he's not pushing quite yet. Waiting for him to make the first move, and Luckshot is going to swing and push in as Zofia is going to cut him down in his tracks, sitting all alone. And we see Sworddish. The Supernova with the brick, no less, as Zofia gets himself a second kill onto DVLA, knocking out the Thatcher as well, making this significantly harder. Flashbangs going out for Sworddish, putting this a little bit worse for Jaeger. CCDJ, a third going out, but he's looking the wrong way. He's going to be able to peek with the brick and get the kill. And honestly,
flashes.
I love nothing more to see the Supernova with the brick, but now that's all we're going to be seeing, as well as the Bearing 9 put into a 1v4, Sweaty putting Sworddish all alone, and Sworddish putting Sweaty into the grave. But now with just a minute or so remaining, just over, he has to still push site.
And he do it with the brick.
He can do it with the brick, but he doesn't have defuse. He has to now fight back against Zofia and get defuse, and he only has a minute to do so. He's playing very aggressively on a staircase that has no one on, but he's none the wiser because he has no info. He has no idea where Zofia might be, and that might be the difference. But he's going to be shot through the wall, as it was very slightly prepped just moments before, I can imagine, as Zofia is going to pick up a third kill that round and really just lock them down for Illinois, or INI rather. And CGC is going to be none the wiser to what they could have done better. But
It's
they
a
may
line
still
nine.
try.
It's
A
not
line
INI.
Look. You gave me a curveball.
if DVLA gets mad about his name being DVLA, I think UIC would probably get pretty mad with their name being INI instead of Illini. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I mean, you're not wrong. However,
Counterpoint, but what
counterpoint. Hypothetically,
if?
let's just say theoretically,
What is this vigil doing?
he's being selfish and invisible. Technically, but he might have been spotted. I don't know.
That would have been really funny.
But the thing is, they might have seen his gun, because as you know, just because you can't see a drone doesn't mean it can't see you, and especially with the way he's sitting right now. That's just a family of 3 that you're looking at, buddy. You don't have to worry about them. You have to worry about your own health, because you might have just been spotted. That shelf, that server unit is definitely not enough to conceal your whole body. So I can only imagine that drone definitely saw who he was, or at least his gun, which gave away who he was. So imagine they know Vigil's on the roam, and they're going to be ready. Yeah, I mean, well, they better be, to be honest. But DVLA is going to go down by CCDJ, who's, again, playing very aggressive on those peaks, getting a lot of damage onto Luckshot as well. As Taco's now getting ready to come help out, as Luckshot is looking a bit worse for wear. as CGC is down down a man less than a minute into the round, which, let's be honest, isn't great, of course. But what else can you really do? And they're going to be down 2 men as Zofia is able to peek while using his vigil device to keep himself very hidden. And now with just 2 minutes, they're able to get some sort of a foothold, but they're still going to have to push Zofia out of meeting as Cosmo goes down by the hands of Buoyancy, and this might be an Illini comeback. Zofia getting his 2nd kill, and now a 1v5 on the hands of Taco.
Who seems to be just standing. Never mind, he seems to be prepping.
He was being patient and gearing himself up mentally before taking his fight, and I mean it worked. And he has defuse in hand.
Prep helps, you know.
Right. I mean that's just how it goes. He has defuse in hand. He's gonna see Zofia there. He's not gonna be able to get the peek off. But instead, Rennie is going to be able to get him from the pit head holes. Knows that he's revealing his location, and he's going to be able to get that pick not too terribly difficultly.
Something that I've been noticing that I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So, apparently, I've seen UIC, or Illini, twice now. They've sort of, like, botched opening up the hatches. And from what I know, apparently it's not the placement of the cursor on the hatch that matters necessarily. It's the amount of spread between the pellets that come out of your gun. So
And I mean, that
I don't
is
know
a
know
big
that, but
difference
yeah.
here, especially with the rotation tools as like such with the bailiff. The bailiff can be very spotty sometimes because like with shotguns, it's really no contest. If you get it on a nice angle, if you get it on like a small angle, it can work really well. But with pistols like the bailiff, you really have to get a good spread on it to make it work, and often have to use the entire mag.
Right. Even with the TCSG from Cade's gun, you can open the hatch, but I think you have to hip fire and get that, like, really get that spread. I've seen it in a YouTube short, apparently, that's really the key, is not the placement. So I hope they learn that going into the future. Castle, again, this is like one of the most popular operators of the night.
And I mean, he's a great op. He's got great utility. He's got a great ability to be able to lock down the site to how you need it, especially with a zombie always off the board. And I mean, honestly, no comp setup is truly complete without a castle. Castle is such a nice operator to have the ability to be able to just make whatever you need just completely bulletproof. And it works great. But CGC is going to have to really make something work. They have the sledge on DVLA, and they might be able to combat CCDJ on the castle as much as possible, and really make something work for them. But as we already see, no one's really playing site. We have maybe one on site in kitchen. The rest are playing very closely. CCDJ is playing for Green Hall with his castle barricade and just being able to hop back and forth as much as he needs. But otherwise, it's all upstairs play, and it's working for the most part. They've already wasted a minute in time, and CCDJ is the only one who's taking a little bit of damage, and that's only slightly so. But the rest of Illini, I cannot get that for the life of me. I swear. Illini is going to be trying to do what they can. CCDJ is going to go down after getting the pick onto DVLA. And that's very unfortunate for the sledge being gone. However, what can you really do? Luckshot able to get that nade onto Sweaty and put this more into the favor of CGC. But we're to see Buoyancy's playing the vert for Breach. He's able to grab Luckshot, and he might be able to grab more as well. Playing both the Breach vert and being able to play Hatch. Now he's being threatened by the exothermic charge. They may not know that he's playing on stacks. Taco hasn't had any drone into there quite yet. The smoke's going to be not going down. Instead, Taco is going to be able to see smoke sitting on the stacks, but Zofia is going to knock out Taco before he's able to make a move. And Cosmo now has to grab defuse and make something happen as a smoke toxic babe goes out to be able to lock him down. And now Cosmo has to deal with 2. He almost saw the head and was able to grab him off Rennie. but that's not going to work out too well. Rennie's going to peek out with a shotgun, but not be successful. Cosmo's going to be able to grab him, put this into a 2v2 with 30 seconds remaining. Cosmo still has defuse in hand, but takes a lot of damage by the hands of Zofia. And now they just have to play a bit back. The plant's going down. They have live pings and info on him, but Zofia's going to be knocked down by Sword Dish, who's doing a great job at covering. And now it's all up to Buoyancy with a SMG-11 and a shotgun, but he's going to be cut down by the PDW of Sword Dish to take another CGC round.
So far, it looks like CGC. Sorry, it took me a sec. I'm having trouble too, man. So far, it looks like CGC is taking complete dominance over this map, and they did pick it, to be fair. But I don't know. I think Illini's got to do something major to really show that they've got a sword in this fight.
But the thing is, they're sitting at a 4-2 split, and that was from CGC's attacking rounds, and that is exactly not what you want to see if you're on Illini, or even a fan of Illini. Because, well, I mean, yeah, you never know. It could be the same type of split for Illini on attack. But the thing is, with Oregon being such a defensive-sided map, and such an, to be honest, almost easily defendable map if you're a solid team able to make this like happen and keep up your standard setups, I feel like CGC is going to have no problem making that happen. If they're able to take at 4 rounds on attack, what's to say they're not going to take 3 on defense? They've done the hard part already. And that's the thing. They just have to finish this out now.
I completely agree.
And I mean, for Illini, that's not what you want to see, of course. However, they're not doing anything to really stop it. They tried, and they did a fine job defending, but CGC just did a tad better. And as good or as bad as you can do, it comes down to who wins. And they haven't. And which is unfortunate, of course, to say the least. But you haven't won. However, Zofia is going to take a bit of damage, and further the fact that they might be at a massive disadvantage going into their attacking half. As we already see, Divule is very aggressive into kitchen, but Sword Dish is going to be able to cover for the kill, taking out Zofia, just knocking Ash right out of here. That's a big entry gone already. Alibi dropping the hatch, peeking and grabbing Divule as grabbing Rennie from Divule's hand. As Ren is able to pick up Sword Dish as well. Just a lot of trades going on, and a lot of frags in general.
You know how CGC had a lot of flashbangs? Apparently, Illini has a lot of breaching charges.
That is interesting, especially considering this isn't that vertically played as a map. I feel like, I don't know if that's, not to say wasted utility, but it's not very useful utility, to be honest.
Well, they got a minute and a half to see if we can use it.
And I mean, you had some for Ash, which I believe are gone now. You have some on Thatcher. You have some on the Zofia. Or no, you didn't have any on Ash. She had the Claymores, but you still have 3 each for Zofia and Thatcher.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if it's basement, what are they going to be breaching? They don't have any vert that they can play. Taco's just sitting on with a shotgun on freezer stairs. You're not going to be able to breach that. What exactly do they have in mind? You have 2 defenders who are holding Cosmo and Taco. Taco's the only one who's actually on site, and we're going to see that he's going to be burnt by that. And Cosmo now has to play a retake on a 1v2. We're going to be sitting at 45 seconds on the clock, both on the main clock and soon to be the defuse timer. As Cosmo now has to make something happen, but CCDJ is going to shut them down for Illini's first attacking round.
You gotta get this down, man. It's Illini.
That's what I said.
You said Illini.
I said Illini. Let the record show.
I don't think you did. I think...
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, did I or did I not say Illini? And as the judge, jury, and executioner of this case, I'm going to say I did.
All right, fair enough. I see no problem with that.
There's no logistical issues, nor emotional bias on this case, as I am the jury and what I say goes, and I am also the judge and the prosecution. and the
Plaintiff and the prosecutor.
I am all sides of this case. Don't you know, Fang?
There is no case anymore. It is not
Exactly.
our case. It is your case.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There is no case to be made because I have already voided it. It
Right,
is
what case?
null and void in the case. That's what I'm saying. We're moving into round 8. We're still sitting pretty close. CGC just above Illini. See, I got it. CGC sitting just above Illini, doing their best to keep their lead, especially now that it's coming closer to an end. They're having to do something though, and we're seeing the Blitz, the Lion, and the Osa, which I mean isn't very uncommon for a defense. However, Elbow is not being played. Instead, it's gonna be Pillar. Cosmo able to grab one, takes off CCDJ off the board, and Blitz is gonna be knocked right out on another kill by Cosmo on a triple. Able to pick up all 3 and another pushing, hitting some picks onto Zofia, making up a quad. Maybe gonna be going for the ace. He wants it, but no! Sword Dish is going to take it right out of his grasp.
That was disrespectful.
Whoa. Unbelievable, Sword Dish. How could you do this? He was right there, too. You know just how badly he wanted to ego peek that Lion, and you said, no, go away. This is not your ace. This is my single kill of this round, and I am not going to stand for any sort of ace action here. Ace is not on defense, but and no aces shall be had because of that.
That Blitz ran through the entire site and didn't think once.
He was on a
maybe
mission.
Maybe I should think about what I'm doing.
He was on a mission. He saw Mute sitting in closet, and he saw red. He wanted him dead.
I guess.
there was nothing else on his mind other than kill. And he was well on his way of doing so. He ran past the Nitro. The Nitro overshot him and landed over by E-Box. If Cosmo did not intervene where he did, Blitz would have had a field day with that site. With still Cosmo on the Oryx, able to maybe make something work. But I feel like he would have had a field day. If you get those isolated 1v1s, even against an Oryx, even against a Warden, you can win if you know what you're doing with that Blitz, honestly. But now moving into round 9, sitting in a nice solid 5v3, or 5-2-3 rather, and CGC is sitting a little bit better than maybe they expected, or at least Illini expected, as this was CGC's pick. However, I can only imagine Illini was not expecting to lose 4 of their defensive side rounds, and now have to claw their way back. This could be a nightmare. Oh. Tragedy. If only he decided, no, I don't want to wait, and I just want to shoot that barricade. That could have been a kill and a half. Just... Ooh. But Sword Dish is going to still be knocked out by the hands of Rennie, and Sweaty by the hands of Divule. And that's going to be pretty big picks on both. Sweaty being on the Yana, losing those nades, but Sword Dish being on the Wamai and losing those extra magnet systems that he did not have time to place. Because as you know, those magnet systems, they do work on the similar way as Legion, where they charge over time throughout the round. So the longer you stay alive, the more magnet systems you have to deploy, as Luckshot is able to take out Zofia, knocking out those air jabs for use. And that's looking pretty good for CGC. Knocking out Roam Clear and nades in one flail swoop. And now just leaving a little bit more to go. Rennie able to get that breach off of the main game's breach. A very vital attack strategy. And you almost never see an attack that doesn't involve getting that breach open, or at least attic breach open. However, CGC is still able to hold strong with a 4-3 man advantage. They're sitting very well at a minute 10, just having the time of their life. Luckshot able to get a little bit roaming going on because they're still comfy. Rennie now being able to hop in through shower hall window. And what's very interesting is Luckshot is going all the way through basement. He's actually going to be able to come up Freezer and might catch Rennie on the back end. But Rennie's going to be able to pick up DVLA and nearly avoid Luckshot as he comes up from his room through basement. Now just sitting at 45 seconds remaining. Luckshot still being very vigilant over on that shower hall. Knows that they're probably going to make a push. Does not hear the jump in, but knows that he's there now and is going to be able to pick up CCDJ and knock Sledge with more nades completely off the board. Rennie taking also a lot of damage as he hops into sight with Defuse, able to catch the head of Cosmo as the Nitro goes out on a triple kill right now, taking a lot of damage. Rennie trying to do anything he can, shoots Alibi Prisma and goes for the plant. This is a very bold play considering how close Taco and Luckshot are. Now Luckshot being the only one in a 1v1 against Buoyancy as he picks up Remy and is able to pick up Buoyancy to secure the round and put CGC into match point.
Man, this is going. It's going, man.
It is going.
Match point. Do you think Illini have the gusto to get it to overtime?
Well, honestly, Fang, considering it's 6-3, they have to win 3 rounds in a row perfectly, as well as 2 additional rounds in overtime. Whereas best case scenario, CGC has to win 1 round within those 3 rounds. They have 3 rounds to win once, and they're defending. I cannot say on good conscience that Illini is in a good spot. They're in a very bad spot. Also, Supernova with the brick, so that just secures their loss. But, and on Sword Dish no less. Really loves that Supernova.
Harsh, man. You gotta.
No. If you see a Supernova with the brick, specifically with the brick, because there's no other proper way to run a shield, or excuse me, run a Supernova, you need the brick. Because that's what makes the gun good, is the ability to put a brick on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, if you run a Supernova with the brick, that just secures your victory, or at least secures yourself a kill. As long as you trust in the brick.
So suppressors don't have any dampening of damage anymore, so I think the break is not only required, it's a
necessity. There is no reason not to run the brick, actually. And if you don't, you're crazy. Lovingly, you're crazy.
Lovingly.
Respectfully and lovingly, you're crazy if you do not run the Supernova, and that's the hill I'll die on. I do. If you disagree, that's okay. I am dying on that hill, and it looks like CZDJ is going to be dying on T1 as he takes a lot of damage by DVLA, but he is just kicking. He's a bit disoriented by the Echo drone and is going to get out of dodge as soon as possible. Not with his Talon 8 shield, but still with one in the pocket. He's just going to get out of there as soon as possible, as we still see a very heavy CGC roam over on tower side 1 and T3 now, Cosmo. DVLA sitting at T1 and still with Taco being able to roam basement as much as they desire. Cosmo on a long angle onto Garage, may be able to catch him, and he will catch CCDG and knock him right out of here, finishing off the damage that was done by DVLA. And now Sword Dish with the Supernova with the brick. He's able to grab 1. Oh man,
He grabbed 2.
He's gonna get him too. Hey, Fang, what did I tell you?
I didn't say anything.
What did I tell you?
I didn't. I mean, yeah, you told me. You told me.
The Supernova with the brick is a win. Now sitting at 4v1, Sweaty having to keep his team from this match and series loss. And there is just about nothing he can do. Because let's think about it.
Let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, to be honest, he's pushing into a shotgun. But Sword Dish is not going to be ready and he's going to lose it. But now he's sitting at a minute left in a 1v3. It's possible. It is very possible. It is highly unlikely. And we're going to see just that as CGC is going to close out this series 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and as many other ways as I can say that. With the Supernova with the brick catching 2 in that last round. I just want to point that out. But all in all, CGC is going to remain victorious overall through this entire series, not having any main missteps. and only nearly coming close to overtime on Clubhouse.
To be completely fair, the first match was definitely the closest, and it was the most exciting.
And I mean, I would completely agree with you. And as a caster, you love to see that. And otherwise, you can't really do much about it. But with that being said,
I guess we're wrong.
Illini they're not looking too great. They got a bit hit hard, and that is definitely going to be something that they have to look back on, and they have to see what they can fix, what they can switch up in their performance to try and make better as much as they can. However, with CGC or UIC, they're able to relax with their victory. They're able to move on very confidently. And I feel like that's definitely going to be showing in their performance as they
To
go.
be honest, I don't know if you can be like super relaxed because that first map was definitely a test of strength. I think they need to rewind some of that and be like and think about it and say, okay, what went wrong? What did we do right? What didn't we do so well? Because that first map is really the telltale signs of the strength of each team, I think.
And I mean, I do agree. However, once they were able to get into Illini's head about it and be able to force their hand onto Illini and make them make a move, they were looking much better. CGC was able to get that grasp onto their opponent and figure them out. And I mean, that's what a first map is for. It's for figuring out your opponent, figuring out how they play, and especially if you've played them before, how they've improved and how they've improved against you after you either won against them or lost against them. And that's the big thing to look at here. It's how you improved this time around versus the last time you played them and versus how they improved versus last time you played them. That's what's going to be important moving on through here because they had to take that first map. They had to fully figure out what UIUC or Illini was capable of and what they were able to make happen. And that's the thing. CGC was able to take it to them on Oregon. After they were able to fully deconstruct and figure out what Illini was capable of on Clubhouse, they were able to make something happen, and it showed. And like that's the only way to say it. It really showed that they figured them out.
I think we saw, like I said, the improvisation from UIC really showed on that second map, where we saw them like almost completely dominate the Illini on either side, really.
I mean, that's exactly what you have to look for.
So I
And
can't
what you
wait
love
to
to see.
see. I wish both teams great luck on their future games, and I have nothing else to say.
And I mean, I feel like they're going to be doing a great job. And as always, my name was Platypus, bringing you the casting standard, as well as
Fang.
Fang Ripper, my lovely co-caster in desperate times. Very, very lovely job, able to do his best. And I would like to thank everybody here for sticking with us through some of our difficulties and shenanigans having to go on, whether through the match or before. And we will see you next time. This has been Midwest R6. Thanks, guys.
I need a scarecrow after what you did, 'cause all of the birds know that I'm almost dead. I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, there's no more to break. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. Ooh. need an angel after what you did. 'Cause you were the devil, you mess with my head. You lied to my mother, you lied to my friends. You said that you'd be there, that this never ends. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head.